This is a big key. Big key. Psalm 27, verse 4. Let's talk about oneness. Hear that word talked about. Oneness brings wellness, okay? Oneness is really important. So let's talk about oneness. Psalm 27, verse 4. We've talked about this before. The English translation that I refer to, one thing, is in italics. That means it was added. It was added. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that one thing, that will I seek after. Okay. The Hebrew word that starts out is echad. This is a guttural sound. Echad. Echad. Now this word echad that David is saying that he asked Big Daddy for. He didn't say Big Daddy, but I do. He said, I asked Yahovah for echad, oneness. I asked that I might be one with him so that I might, well, we'll talk about that, what he's going to get out of this oneness. Oneness, echad, I have asked from Yahovah. That would be Big Daddy. And this oneness I am seeking so that I might dwell in the house of Yahovah all the days of my lives. Life is plural here, lives, because we have a lot of different aspects to our life. Our life is a lot of different lives all put together. It's kind of like the body. Our body is eyes, ears, tongue, nose, hair, hands, feet, liver. It's a lot of pieces. So our life is a lot of lives, a lot of pieces that come together and form a life. So he's saying, echad, or oneness. I asked Big Daddy for oneness. I asked Big Daddy for oneness. And that oneness I am seeking for so that I can dwell in his house all the days of my lives in order to perceive in the pleasantness of Yahovah, in the pleasantness of Big Daddy, so that I might be able to perceive in the pleasantness of Big Daddy and to ask questions of him in his temple. There's another word in here I'm going to bring out. But let's go back over that. Oneness, echad. I asked Big Daddy for oneness. Now, there are a lot of ways to describe oneness, but here in the past few days, this is how it's been for me. You ever seen a little child, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, and they hadn't seen their daddy all day, or even longer, and all of a sudden daddy comes to the door, and they run to their daddy, and they grab one of his legs, because that's just kind of what they can, They grab one of his legs. They look up. Oh, they're holding on to that leg. That's oneness. That is oneness. That's what he's been showing me lately. That's what oneness is. Us as his little children, so excited, so delighted to have that oneness, that time with him, in order to dwell in his house every single day so that we might perceive. See, oneness brings dwelling. Dwelling brings perception. And perception brings pleasantness. And pleasantness in Daddy's house through oneness puts you in a position to be able to ask him questions and get clear answers. I've asked him a lot of questions over my time past. Okay, so in January, which is coming up in 2 months, 2024, in about 2 months, I will have been sitting with him, learning these things for 13 years. No. Gosh, has it been 15 years? 09 to 19, 10 years, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Wow. In January, it's going to be 15 years since I started in January 09. Kind of got forced into it, sitting with him first thing in the morning, seeking this echad, seeking this oneness. I had no idea what I was seeking. I was just trying to get out of the situation most of us found ourselves in January 09. That was the global recession. That was the great crash. Well, not the great crash. That was 100 years ago. It was a huge crash, economic crash, globally. And it hit my industry really hard. So I was under pressure and I needed some help. I'm like, Daddy, I need some help. What do I do? Come sit with me. Come sit with you. I need some help, man. Come sit with me. And finally in January 09, after November, December, and about the third week of January, I finally sat with him. Wasn't happy about it, but I sat with him. And he began me on a course of sitting with him every morning and actually getting to know them. Getting to know the Father, the Son, the Spirit. And one of the first things he taught me was this word, echad. Oneness. And the very first lesson that I had that morning in January 2009, the very first lesson, I told you I was going to bring up another word. That first lesson was Psalm 91:1, my favorite verse in the Bible. It had been my favorite verse for like 20 years. I didn't really know why it was, but boy, it just rang in me. Psalm 91:1. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Now, one of the key words in that, he who dwells, that Hebrew word dwell is yashab. That Hebrew word translated dwell, yashab. And it means to just come in and set up camp. I mean, it can kind of mean be married to. It has a oneness about it. Matter of fact, let's click on it. Here it is, yashab. Oneness I asked from Big Daddy, and this oneness I am seeking so that I might dwell, or yashab, in his house every day that I live. Let's click on this word. And I'm sure this is the same word. Yep, yashab. It means properly to sit down, to settle, to marry. Oh. We're the bride of the Messiah. Those of us who are his little children that actually have taken the time and the desire to get to know them Remember? Remember the story? Yeshua said, hey, a door's going to open and something's going to happen. Then the door's going to close and there will be those coming knocking on the door. Let us in, let us in, let us in. We did all these things. We cast out demons. We did our church thing. We blah, 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 blah. He said, I never knew you. Depart from me. I never knew you. You're shopping. Puts you in a place to get to know them. And you want to know them. I spent decades knowing about them, seeking to know about them. That doesn't work. Doesn't work. You can know a lot about. How versed were the Pharisees in Scripture? Amazing. I mean, they really knew their stuff. They knew a lot about Big Daddy. They knew a lot about the law. They knew a lot of stuff, but they didn't know him. Echad, oneness. Yashab, to go into his house and just to settle in, even to become one with him. Think marriage. And Adam knew his wife Eve. That's on a whole nother level, but you get what I'm saying, right? Out of oneness, out of knowing, comes life. I asked Big Daddy for oneness. David's saying this. This is in southern U.S. vernacular, okay? David said, I asked Big Daddy for oneness. I wanted to just be one with him. I wanted to be able to go up to him and just grab him by the leg and just look up at him like he's my Big Daddy. Just be filled with love and be able to perceive and ask him questions like you do your daddy. That's what I wanted. That's what I was seeking after. I wanted to be able to yashab in his house every single day. I want to perceive. They're mysteries of his kingdom. And only those that seek will find. Only those that yashab will be able to perceive in the pleasantness of Yahovah. Can you imagine? Okay. Let's say you are just taken there. Boom. And there have been people that were. Paul was taken there. Enoch was taken there. Imagine you're just taken there. I mean, like right there, right? Daddy and Yeshua and the creatures and all the stuff. You just all of a sudden, whew, would you think that it would be, it would be fearful, because the fear of Big Daddy is a real thing. If to you it's a real thing, and it needs to be a real thing, but the fear of him would be there, but also the pleasantness of everything would be there. Wow. If you were there and you got over the fear factor, and it was just like, hey, don't be fearful. It's okay. Hey, I just wanted to bring you up here so you could just kind of see, feel, taste, hear, and understand the pleasantness that we have here. Isn't it pleasant? Can you imagine the pleasantness? David saying, Big Daddy, I want to know about this oneness. I want to be one with you. I'm seeking this oneness so that I might yashab in your house every day of my life to affect all the different aspects of my lives, so that I might be able to perceive while in the pleasantness of Yahovah, Big Daddy, and to ask you questions. While I'm in your temple, while I'm here with you, Daddy, I'd like to ask you a question. I asked him about the dinosaurs one time, and the answer was amazing. I was like, wow. Okay, I got it. I see. Okay, that was fairly quick. Psalm 27, verse 4, seek oneness. It brings wellness. Okay? That was fun. See you guys next time.